Shut up, Smarks. Ring Ross Redux. No, I won't tap out. I won't tap out. All of you buzzards suck. Just stop watching Raw. Stop watching Raw. So, the only thing I really gotta do today is do a pre-preview of WWE Extreme Rules this Sunday on the WWE Network from the Royal Farms Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. We've got 6 matches here, so how about we just get into it? So, I'm just gonna take them in the order that they got here on Wikipedia. I don't know if it's gonna be in this order. Probably not. Are they all title matches of some, well... There's 4 title matches, and there's there's a number 1 contendership match, and there's a mixed tag, so... Interesting spread. I'm sure they'll find 1 or 2 smaller matches, like Kurt Hawkins will show up and say, "What, I'm not working tonight? Oh, okay, fine, we'll give you a match." And then someone else walks in and says, "What, I'm not working tonight? Well, guess we got a feud going." Okay, then. So, Zack Ryder walks in, "I'm not working tonight? Of course not, you're injured." "Right." And then he walks back out again. Why did I get on that plane? Where did this ticket come from? Why do I have this empty FedEx envelope addressed to Chris Jericho? So, we're going to start with the Cruiserweight Championship match, a submission match, which sees Neville defending his championship against Austin Aries. I do predict that, hope anyway. I don't know, predict kind of, I guess. But, I do kind of also hope that it's Austin Aries' time. But we'll see. We'll see. Now, someone also, in regards to 205 Live, Hollywood's World of Sports did post an article, not an article I suppose, but a little opinion piece here. One thing I'm really disappointed with when I watch 205 Live is the fact that they are not being heavily featured on WWE pay-per-views. For example, Akira Tozawa and Brian Gendrick have been involved in a feud since WrestleMania season. The feud went on for weeks and was very entertaining. Instead of giving them a spot on Extreme Rules, they put their feud-ending street fight on 205 Live. Last I checked, a street fight would have fit well on an Extreme Rules pay-per-view, or at the very least the pre-show. The same could be said for Mustafa Ali and Drew Gulak. They've been in a feud for the past 4 to 6 weeks, and the feud ends on weekly TV show. Feuds are supposed to end in a big show. My question to Triple H is, why should we be invested in these characters when they are not being put into the spotlight like they should be? Just a thought. Now, I did find it interesting enough. I shared it on the CHMR's Ring Rust page. I told the author of the article I was going to comment on it if I got the time. Turns out I'm talking about it right away, so obviously I've got the time. I agree with the sentiment, because they don't put NXT matches on WWE pay-per-views. They don't put, well, that's really the only 2, isn't it? The rest is, they have the UK Championship division, I guess, if you want to call it that. But they're planning a show around that, so they've been putting some matches for that on NXT. And NXT has its own special events on the WWE Network, TakeOver. So 205 Live could probably do the same thing. They could do the same thing with 205 Live, maybe, because they do TakeOver, 3 or 4 times a year? So put a 205 Live 2-hour show between TakeOvers. There's a WWE pay-per-view, I'm sure, somewhere in that general area, because they do one at least once a month. Someone said they do 2, so I'm sure they can squeeze one in there, and people are obviously clamoring for it, but they're asking for it. There are people asking for it, so it would probably be appreciated. And they got that women's tournament coming. That's not for any of the titles, is it? That's showcasing women's rights. It's not for a specific title, not like the UK one or the 205 Live with the Cruiserweight Classic. So, they were all for a title. They've already got 2 women's titles, so obviously the tournament won't be for either of those 2 titles. It might be for a number 1 contendership. That would work, I suppose. A number 1 contendership down the road. Like R-Truth and his NXT rookie. They had a future tag team title shot, and I don't think anything came of it. So, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think anything came of it. So, Radio Shrug? So that would be my suggestion. F2 Triple H in the event that he's listening. It's like, I think I'll tune into one of those nerds on wrestling radio thing, whatever. How do I use the internet? Am I using the internet? Somebody get a nerd in here to help me use the internet. He tweets. He knows what he's doing. So, I don't know if it also goes to his Facebook page. You know, people have their Twitter and their Facebook link, so I don't know if you can do that with a page as well as with your profile. But anyway, yeah, that would be my like I said, that would be my suggestion. Just you know, start a show. Just do a show. Do a special 2-hour show, or like do a Cruiserweight Classic once a year at the very least. Do another Cruiserweight Classic at least once a year. Use the same guys if you want, but you know, throw in at least half new people. You know, because there are people who got left out of the Cruiserweight Classic who just barely didn't make the cut, and those would be the good ones for the second one. If you just keep at it until next year, you'll be a shoo-in for it. In the event we ever do this again, LOL. Why did he put his hand up by his mouth and say LOL? See when the next takeover is going to be, you know, see, take a space between two upcoming takeovers, like wait until after the next takeover, and then look at the takeover after that, and then put one pretty much right in the middle of the two of those. Is probably what would be the best solution, I think. In the event they're actually planning to do that, I don't know. They could just have 205 Live as just a filler show. It's like, here's some extra talent who we aren't going to fire until somebody higher up gets bored of 205 Live, and then hasta la vista unless they can work for NXT. So, fingers crossed nothing like that happens, because, you know, they're all rather talented individuals on 205 Live, so hopefully they all keep their jobs, and worst case scenario, they can say former WWE superstar when they're working independent promotions. So, at any rate, back to the original topic, the Cruiserweight Championship submission match. I do anticipate and hope that Austin Aries will come out on top of that one, because he's got ambition and vision. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. Oh, God. If I can have your attention, please. I just received an email from the ridiculous Ring Rust General Manager. Wasn't there another 205 Live match? Yes, I was getting to that. Another 205 Live match on WWE Extreme Rules on the WWE Network. So, yeah. The mixed tag is, well, 3 out of 4, I guess, from 205 Live. I guess as much as Alicia Fox is really on 205 Live, I guess Sasha Banks can be on 205 Live, too. Alicia Fox isn't really wrestling on 205 Live. Not that she has to, but it's just... I don't know. So, there is a mixed tag match, and you know me, if you've listened to any particular length of time, you know I like naming tag teams. So we have Serial Datist, Noam Dar and Alicia Fox, because she was dating Cedric Alexander, and then she was... There's a Beach Boys song, I think, that... Ooh, so, and they're going up against Golden Goose, Richard Swann and Sasha Banks. Because one of them's golden and the other one I'd like to give a... So anyway, I predict those Dudley Do-Rights are probably going to come out on top of the Snidely Whiplashes, because it's a feel-good match. Why wouldn't you want to... Because it's probably also going to be the pre-show match, if I had to guess. One of those two matches from 205 Live is going to be the pre-show. I'm pretty sure. They're going to add a separate match for the pre-show and probably start the pay-per-view with one of those two matches. And then put the other match probably somewhere in the middle of the pay-per-view. Because that's just how they space things out. They say, hey, really hot match, and then a match that allow the fans to cool down a little bit, go take a break or go to the bathroom or do whatever they gotta do. I mean, fans joke about a bathroom break match, but, you know, you needed to go to the bathroom. They kind of deliberately did that. They gave you a bathroom break. Say thank you and go to the bathroom. So you may or may not be in the bathroom during this match. Well, I may or may not be in the bathroom myself, depending on if I have to go to the bathroom. You know, if I go to the bathroom, I get up and I go to the bathroom. Then I come back and watch the rest of the match. I mean, what's the big deal? I mean, I did make up a bathroom break title stipulation for various matches that used to feature Test when he was still with us. And not a lot of his matches mattered to a lot of fans, it seemed. So it was a bathroom break match. So he was perennial bathroom break champion. So he'd defend his title every time someone had to go to the bathroom. Or anyway, so onward and upward. I do, like I said, predict that the Golden Goose will come out on top of that one, and I wouldn't be disappointed or sad or anything if it went the other way. It just seems reasonable to me that that's how they'd probably do it, with a match that's, I don't want to say unimportant, but, you know, it kind of is, I suppose. Not to belittle either of the four people in this match. You know, they're all, I think, in some way, shape, or form, a former champion. I'm sure Noam Dar held a championship somewhere, not in WWE yet. Rich Swann, a former Cruiserweight champion. Sasha Banks, former women's champion in NXT and WWE. And Alicia Fox is a former Divas champion. So, not hating on anybody, just saying it's not the tag team match or the kendo stick women's title match, or, you know, it's not the same level of all of them. I mean, it's got its own little level. It's got its own level, but, you know, it's just not quite on the same one. But anyway, people are still going to come from around the world to watch this match, though. You are listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jobronology TV.
You're listening to Wrestling Superstar, the XXX Sex Express Sexy Eddie, and you're listening to Ring Rust, the one and only wrestling talk radio show.
Make like a condom and cover me. I'm a rocket! Friendly fire.
You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jobronology TV. So next up, from WWE Extreme Rules. Remember when fans used to not be butthurt tosspot internet wrestling losers who complained about a show that they could just as easily turn off and not watch ever again if they were dissatisfied with it? The Royal Farms Arena does. Next up is the kendo stick on a pole match for the Raw Women's Championship, which sees Alexa Bliss defending her title against Bayley. Now, Alexa Bliss has been going to an awful lot of effort to show Bayley that she's not tough, apparently ignoring much, if not all, of her matches from NXT when she was the NXT Women's Champion. But that's none of the concern of Kermit the Frog drinking tea. So, extreme, I guess, would be more to the point. She's not really that extreme. I haven't really seen her go extreme in any of her matches. Not that I haven't really seen her use any weapons. I don't think she's gone out of her way not to use weapons. Like if there's a chair or something in the ring or someone throws it to her or whatever, she'll throw it to one side and deliberately not use it. But, I don't know, she could surprise us. Although, I don't really think my secret girlfriend is really all into the extreme stuff. So, I kind of do anticipate that Alexa Bliss is going to come out on top of this one. Wouldn't really be too disappointed one way or the other, but I mean, she's 5 feet of bliss, and she's all that in a bag of potato chips, and all kinds of other euphemisms like that. That means she's quite the effective Snidely Whiplash in that match, so much so that she should probably start wearing one of those fake handlebar mustaches so she can toilet. But, I don't know, that may detract from her. Or maybe, you know, she'll just keep being spiteful and keep winning matches, and keep that title around her waist, or over her shoulder, or over one shoulder, or whatever she's gonna do with it. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jobronology TV.
This is 93.5 CHMR FM. Ring Rust presents Macho Facts. Randy Savage doesn't read books. He stares them down until he gets the information he wants. And the Macho Man once elbow dropped someone so hard that his elbow broke the speed of light, went back in time and killed Amelia Earhart while she was flying over the Pacific Ocean.
Like me on Facebook, tinyurl.com/ringrust. Follow me on Twitter @MarkJabroni. And subscribe to Jabronology TV, youtube.com/fanboymarkjabroni.
You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. A steel cage match for the Tag Team Championships. Let's see, the champions, the Hardy Boys, Jeff and Matt Hardy, take defending their titles against International Powers. As you know, I like naming tag teams, and that's what I call them because they were just Sheamus and Cesaro, or Cesaro and Sheamus, depending on who they said first. So, in the vein that's better than Team Rhodes Scholars, because Rhodes Scholars, Lord knows, wasn't good enough. You had to make sure you knew they were a team, so they were Team Rhodes Scholars. Pardon me a moment. So, I don't think the Hardys are going to lose the titles just yet. You know, I could be mistaken. I just don't feel it myself, so we'll see how that turns out. I don't think International Powers are going to get it just yet. Maybe at the next pay-per-view, or they might win it at this one. I don't know. They may win it at the Raw after Extreme Rules, because that's the thing. The Raw after a pay-per-view is more important than the pay-per-view. Well, you know, I don't know. I don't know what the logic for that is. I'm sure there is logic applied. I'm sure there is logic being used, but I'm not familiar with what it would be. So, at any rate, that's my prediction. I'm not going to be disappointed. I'm sure it'll be a smacktastic match all the same. So, let's see how it turns out. The steel cage match is, I don't know if it's, like WWE seems to have its own variation of the steel cage match, because I've only really seen, when I first saw steel cage matches, it was with the big blue steel cage. So, that was only escape the cage is the only way to win those matches. I've learned since that another way to win a steel cage match is also, another stipulation would be to pin somebody. But then again, since they moved away from the big blue steel cage, which is easy to climb because it's got those great big gaps, it's easy to escape that one. So they say, well, just make it escape. You got to escape the cage because look how easy it is. You know, as long as they don't end in count out. You know, it's like, and a steel cage match ending in count out. It's like a hardcore match ending in disqualification. Which I've seen. On the local level here in sunny St. John's, Newfoundland, I've seen it. Well, that's before they actually started applying things like psychology to wrestling. They just sort of did wrestling. Not backyard, because they had actual rings, but Radio Shrug? You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV.
Woohoo! No! Marge, it takes two to lie and one to listen.
What does that mean?
Ew, slimy. Ow, pointy. Oh, moving.
Or you come up to someone else's theme song, dressed as them, and then whip off the costume is like, aha, I'm the bad guy. You are cheering for the bad guy. You complete morons. Not literally, of course, but that's just how they behave. So, I remember that. That was, who was that? Heavy Metal? Yes, when he was, the Monster Pro Wrestling champion. Was it heavyweight champion? Or, because it was a big, block of a belt. I don't remember if that was their heavyweight title or their hardcore title or something. But he was feuding with one of our local wrestlers here, and he came out to that local wrestler's theme song dressed in a... because that guy, his opponent went by the name Jigger Jack. He was a typical Newfoundlander, I guess, kind of. But he was also a wrestler, so thumbs up. He came out dressed in like a rain jacket, carrying a fishing pole and stuff, and then he just whipped off the jacket, and he revealed it was heavy metal, and then whipped off his belt and paraded around the ringside, and all the fans were booing because they were previously cheering because they thought it was the good guy. And boy, you could have roasted some marshmallows and hot dogs, I think, with that heat that he got. Anyway, once again, happy birthday, Joey Image. Hope you're doing well. Life future endeavored you, unfortunately. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. So we got 2 more matches for WWE Extreme Rules on the WWE Network. We have Dean Ambrose defending his Intercontinental Championship against The Miz, and if he gets disqualified, The Miz wins the title. Now, actually, it does specify here, I imagine that's the implication. Maybe they just didn't clarify it here on the Wikipedia page. It says if Ambrose is disqualified, he will lose the title. So theoretically, that means The Miz wins the title. But you never know. They could say, well, you didn't specify that you wanted to win the title if he got disqualified. You just specified in the contract that he loses the title. So now we have a new Intercontinental Championship tournament on next week's Raw, where everyone gets thrown into a match, and I don't know. I'm sure it's intended to be The Miz will win if Dean Ambrose gets disqualified, but still, it's a nice little thought. Now, I'm not a little crazy. You're a little crazy. Let's fight.
Like me on Facebook, tinyurl.com/ringrust. Follow me on Twitter @MarkGibroni, and subscribe to Jabronology TV, youtube.com/fanboymarkgibroni.
And by the way, I don't think I mentioned it, but I do believe that Dean Ambrose is going to successfully defend his Intercontinental Championship. I don't know how. Maybe I don't think there's a stipulation where if The Miz gets disqualified, anything happens, because The Miz doesn't have anything to lose except a shot at the Intercontinental title. So we'll just say Dean Ambrose finds a way to win by either not getting disqualified or not getting caught, which I guess is the same as not getting disqualified. I mean, not getting disqualified is not doing anything to get disqualified, or just not getting caught. Hey, ref, what's that over there? Ding. From WWF No Mercy. The last match, main event, is a fatal 5-way Extreme Rules match for the #1 contendership of the WWE Universal Championship to go face Brock Lesnar at a future pay-per-view. So we got Samoa Joe taking on Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor and Seth Rollins, and the man I believe is probably going to be the eventual winner, most likely. I won't be overly sad if either of the other 4 win either, I guess, but, this is the one I foresee is going to end up winning. And it seems like WWE foresees, quote unquote, foresees, wink wink, is going to win the match. Roman Reigns. So, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, I suppose. That'll make a sufficient number of butthurt Tosspot internet wrestling fans cry like female dogs with skinned knees.
That's it for another show, kiddies. Check me out on Facebook, where you can keep track of all the news that's right on the mark, from around ringside to the latest concerts. See you at the shows. Later days.
This is 93.5 CHMR FM.